My first instinct while watching My Stepmom's Daughter Is My Ex was to check if it was indeed an A1 Pictures show. Everything about it seemed perfectly molded to fit the trashy, low-quality smut the studio typically puts out. After watching the show for a few more seconds, I concluded that the show seemed too bad to be on the level of something A1 would make. This seemed more akin to something like Death March to the Parallel World Rhapsody, or, Citrus in its level of quality. After doing a little bit of research, aka looking up the show on Mal, I discovered the series was made by Project Number 9, a studio known for only the most quality of shows. It seems this new series is continuing their high level of quality. After all this, it really sunk in that I wasn't even 30 seconds into the show, and I decided I was being too harsh in judging it too much. I mean, there's nothing that wrong with this screenshot. The beige color palette isn't that disgusting, and this character design is fine. It's nothing too generic. I'll just keep going, and oh boy, that's right. This is why I stopped the show for 5 minutes. Hey, look, it's Kirito. Ayato. Ichiro. Mizuto? God, even the names are all the same. And the titular daughter, Yume. At least I assume. So after their mother leaves and they exchange a few insults, we cut to a scene of them eating dinner. Meanwhile, the show relentlessly drills into our heads, these are step-siblings, these are step-siblings, these are step-siblings. This is going to sound ridiculous to most people watching this video, but this is one of my main problems with this show and a lot of anime at large. If you are going to make an incest show, make an incest show. Don't water it down with this step-sibling garbage. Anyways, after another drawn-out scene that's just the characters throwing pointless insults at each other, we get this god-awful shot. Seriously, this looks so bad. How did this fly? The books are moving at a different speed from the rest of the shot. Yui comes into Kirito's room to tell him how upset she is that he's using her given name and tells him to call her One-chan. This brings my big ol' incest issue back up. This show is literally making a point to have Masamune call Kirino One-chan.
The inside, people from Nihonland call stepsisters Oni-chan all the time.
I don't want to hear any of you saying this because it's exactly what the show wants you to say. They are making an incest show but skirting around everything that would make people judge an incest show from a moral standpoint. Really, it's not that much better to be sleeping with your stepsister than your regular one. I think right now is a good time to remind you that this entire show is comprised of different shades of beige. This is the most boring-looking anime I've ever seen. Say what you will about shows like Handshakers or Citrus, at least those shows are ugly in an interesting or funny way. This is the most boilerplate, generic-looking show I've ever had the displeasure of viewing. Ironically, after I went on this rant, I got the most visually interesting part of the whole show. This cute little animation of birds and a clock signifying the time Ayato and Mira were born. This shot isn't too amazing, it's not even that impressive, but it's actually pretty adorable. If only the whole show looked like that. Then we're brought back to this excruciatingly boring 5-minute long argument, and we get more stylized shots. However, unlike the first, these are just as generic and crappy as the rest of the show. Just instead of looking like Eramonga Sensei, it looks like Isekai Quartet. It was at this point that I realized I wasn't going to get anything out of finishing this episode, as I had already gotten basically everything off my chest that I needed to, and watching more would just be a stupid decision on all fronts. So I don't want to hear none of y'all telling me that if I didn't like the show, why did I watch it all, because I literally didn't. And for everyone else telling me this isn't a comprehensive enough review of the show, congratulations for misunderstanding my entire video. If you liked this, check out my other anime videos. I promise none of them are as cynical and sardonic as this one. Also, check out my second channel for occasional vlogs and Let's Plays if that sounds interesting to you, and read my Twitter. I've been Lobster Guy, and I'll see you next video.